Liam was just your average office drone until he straight up dozed off at his desk and woke up in a whole new world. Instead of his usual depressing cubicle, he found himself in a fancy-ass ballroom surrounded by nobles sipping expensive drinks while a maid desperately tried to shake him awake. Completely bamboozled, he figured this had to be some weird-ass fever dream. To confirm, though, he rushed to check his reflection, only to be greeted by the face of some random kid. The maid, low-key concerned for this socially inept little dude, was about to call in backup when a tall, imposing man strode over, his supposed father. The guy told Liam to quit staring at himself like a wannabe influencer and get his act together. Turns out, Liam wasn't just any kid. He was now the fifth son of the noble Hamilton family, and the whole party was celebrating the birth of his baby sister. The realization hit like a truck Cohen special, but instead of dealing with it, Liam decided to sleep it off, praying he'd wake up back in his crusty old office. No such luck. The next morning, he was still trapped in his tiny new body. Stepping onto the balcony, the maid casually mentioned that all the land he saw belonged to his family. Dude was straight up shook. His broke salaryman brain couldn't even process that kind of wealth. Later, he met up with his older brothers, including Bruno, the fourth son and an absolute finance bro. Bruno was already scheming about how they could use their baby sister to lock in a royal marriage for future clout. Bruno explained that every noble family had to contribute to the kingdom somehow or risk being demoted to commoners. Unfortunately, their dad was a whole NPC who hadn't done anything useful, putting their entire family status on the chopping block. Before Liam could fully process this dumpster fire of a situation, their magic instructor arrived, holding an ancient tome. Liam, now fully embracing his ice guy destiny, got hyped to learn magic. Bruno, ever the realist, told him not to get his hopes up since only a handful of people could actually use magic. Liam, not giving a single damn, sprinted straight to the library, grabbed a random book, and tried a basic fire spell. To his absolute shock, it worked. His hand lit up like a budget candle, and the maid cheered him on. Wasting no time, Liam barged into his dad's study, asking if he could take more books from the library. His father, barely acknowledging his existence, waved him off with a disinterested, "Do whatever you want." Mentally cursing out his neglectful dad, Liam left with an armful of books and started grinding magic like a sweaty MMO player. After just a month, he could cast flame spells without even looking at the book, something that normally took years. Bruno was flabbergasted by Liam's progress and decided to test his own talent, only to fail spectacularly. Accepting his fate as a background character, Bruno encouraged Liam to use his magic skills to rise in society, but Liam wasn't interested in all that noble drama. Instead, he hit the library again, this time looking for ice magic. On his way back to his room, his father stopped him, asking if he had learned any spells. Nervous, Liam accidentally fumbled and let out a weak burst of ice magic. His father, unimpressed, was about to leave when Liam decided to flex for real. He cast a high-level flame spell without the book, shocking his father. For the first time, the man actually smiled and told Liam he could take as many books as he wanted. Finally, some parental validation. Venturing into the nearby forest, Liam stumbled upon a mysterious man in a white coat, who asked if he was from the Hamilton family. Liam confirmed he was the fifth son, and the man immediately got suspicious, asking if Liam was sent to capture him. Having zero clue what this weirdo was on about, Liam decided it was best to dip before things got sketchy. But the man stopped him, claiming he could teach him a more efficient way to use magic. Curious, Liam watched as the man casually flexed by casting all 5 elemental magics at once. Mind blown, Liam begged to learn his technique. The man first made him do a draw a circle and square at the same time, test to check if he was a certified idiot. After Liam passed, the man explained the method, and to his shock, Liam managed to use 2 spells at once, a technique so rare it's basically a cheat code. Excited, Liam pushed himself further and managed to use 3 spells simultaneously before running out of mana. The man reassured him that he'd improve over time and casually demonstrated his own ability to use 13 spells at once, though he was aiming for 16. Before vanishing into thin air, the man handed Liam a Samsung Galaxy ring, an enchanted artifact loaded with magic spells, and told him to experiment with it. Liam immediately tried out a wind spell, which worked flawlessly. Turning to thank the man, he found that he had disappeared, just like his own motivation back in the office. Moments later, the maid appeared, warning him that an unidentified person had been spotted nearby. Liam, not wanting to snitch, played dumb. As soon as she left, the man reappeared, revealing he had simply turned invisible like a stealthy main in an online game. Testing his new ring, Liam discovered he could store spells inside it like Pokemon in a Pokeball. Naturally, he started collecting spells like a maniac. A month passed as Liam kept training, using his magic to create valuable items like charcoal and mana crystals. One day, Bruno caught him in the act and admitted that Liam's skills would make him independent in the future. Bruno then dropped a lore bomb. Before Liam was born, their father desperately wanted a daughter to marry into the royal family. When Liam came out as yet another son, the dude lost his mind and decided to fight a literal dragon. The battle ended with 90% of his soldiers wiped out, and while the dragon was sealed, the Hamilton family's future was now on thin ice. Bruno, being a realist, told Liam their family was basically doomed, so he should start looking out for himself. Taking the advice seriously, Liam ventured into the city to sell his magically created goods. He made a decent profit, but when he tried to sell instant ramen, his genius invention, the local shopkeepers refused to buy it because Alb had put a restriction on him. Furious, Liam realized Alb was actively trying to block his success out of sheer jealousy. Determined not to let his salty brother hold him back, Liam got creative. Using a newly learned teleportation storage spell, he created a clone of himself and sent it to a different kingdom, one that wasn't under Hamilton influence. The clone successfully sold everything and deposited the money back into Liam's personal stash. Congratulations, Liam had just reinvented offshore banking in this medieval world. Days passed as Liam continued leveling up, perfecting illusion magic, and pushing his skills even further. Then, out of nowhere, Alb approached him with a smug grin, saying he had been hearing a lot about Liam's progress. Sensing a trap, Liam played it safe and claimed he just wanted to find a normal job and make money. Alb, seemingly satisfied with this answer, offered to introduce Liam to the Hunters Guild. Liam was thrilled. Becoming an adventurer meant he could legally fight monsters and get paid for it. Forget noble politics. This was the start of his real grind set arc. The very next day, Liam swaggers into the Hunters Guild, only to get immediately roasted by a bunch of adventurers calling him a bite-sized noble. But he shrugs off their broke-ass opinions and strolls right up to the guild master like he owns the place. The guild master, clearly underestimating him, tells Liam that even with his noble status, he has to prove himself first. He asks Liam to hit him with his best shot. Liam, being the merciful king he is, holds back and casually flings some baby fireballs around the guy. The entire guild loses their minds while the guild master rethinks his entire life, immediately ranking Liam up to B tier. Liam walks out with a shiny new badge, wondering just how strong the actual B ranks are. Before he can ponder too much, a clout-chasing adventurer named Asna stops him, asking if he's really from the Hamilton family and whether she can join his party. Liam, despite being a tactical genius, still falls for the most ancient trick in the book, boobs. So, naturally, he agrees, and they set off on their first mission. Not even 5 minutes into the forest, they run into a massive wolf beast. Asna whips out her daggers, ready to throw hands, but before she can attack, an entire wolf pack materializes out of nowhere, surrounding them. Asna starts calculating her respawn time, but Liam, unfazed, yeets out his magic Pokemon. The wolves chomp down on them, only to realize they just bit into live grenades. The magical creatures expand like a cheap burrito in the microwave, trapping the wolves, and Asna finishes them off. They return with a whopping 42 wolf corpses, shocking everyone, including the guild master, who immediately sends them on another job. Their next mission? Taking out a giant caterpillar monster that's blocking trade routes. Easy, right? Wrong. When they find the caterpillar, it turns out to be built like a medieval tank, with an exoskeleton that negates both physical and magical attacks. Nothing works. Liam, however, has a 300 IQ moment and instructs Asna to act as bait. When the caterpillar falls into place, Liam pulls out his storage magic and drops a boulder the size of his crippling responsibilities onto it, crushing it instantly. Not satisfied with just one, he uses his monster radar skill to locate another caterpillar and obliterates that too. The guild master is so impressed that he showers them in rewards. But before Liam can spend his hard-earned cash, his father and brother roll up to the city, waiting for some VIP to arrive. When the nobleman finally steps out of his fancy carriage, he takes one look at Liam and instantly calls him over. Turns out, the old man recognizes Liam's ring. It belonged to a high-tier mage named Raymond, someone he knew personally. The noble chuckles, then casually orders Liam to blast his butler with as much magic as possible. Liam, being the overachiever he is, fires off an 11-spell combo, smashing through the butler's magical barrier and even making him stagger. The noble laughs like he just found his long-lost favorite grandchild and, on the spot, knights Liam, granting him independence. Later, Liam discovers a letter hidden in his storage magic, left by Raymond as a graduation gift. The letter claims there's 100 kilograms of gold hidden at the bottom of a drained lake, and it's up to Liam to retrieve it. After some galaxy brain thinking, Liam realizes it's not gold bars, it's gold dust. Using his storage magic, he successfully extracts it, unlocking a hidden trapdoor that leads to an ancient dungeon. Inside, he finds a dusty old magic book and another note from Raymond, saying he was never able to use this magic but hopes Liam can. Liam grinds the spell for days, failing over and over, until he finally succeeds. The spell, called Another World, opens a portal to a pocket dimension where he can hide anything, even himself. He immediately starts brainstorming all the ways this could break the game. Fast forward a month, and on one of their missions, Liam and Asna face off against a massive frog monster. None of their attacks do anything, and, in a final act of pettiness, the frog decides to self-destruct. Thinking fast, Liam casts Another World and drags himself and Asna inside just before the explosion vaporizes everything. Back at the guild, Asna starts questioning her entire existence after realizing how weak she is. Seeing this, the guild master suggests that she form a magical contract with Liam, essentially boosting her power exponentially. Asna, being a certified power-hungry menace, immediately agrees. The contract not only levels her up, but also grants her a unique skill. She becomes so fast she makes speedsters look like they're standing still. Excited by the upgrade, Asna takes Liam to meet her friend, Jody, a veteran adventurer. Jody also forms a contract with Liam, and to everyone's shock, she gains a unique skill as well. She can heal any wound through cooking. This is basically game-breaking, and word spreads across the kingdom like wildfire. A few days later, the same noble who knighted Liam invites him for tea. He tells Liam that Princess Scarlet is interested in seeing his slaves in action. Liam, not being a medieval bootlicker, immediately shuts him down, saying they're his friends, not circus performers. Unbeknownst to him, the princess was disguised as a servant in the room. Instead of getting mad, she becomes even more interested in Liam, clearly developing a fascination with the only person brave or dumb to defy royalty. The next morning, Liam gets summoned to meet Princess Scarlet, and from the moment he steps into the room, he knows this chick has the purse. Greets her properly, expecting the usual noble nonsense, but instead, she just plops a chair down for him and demands that he narrate his epic battles against the caterpillars and frogs. Easy enough, he thinks, and starts storytelling. Scarlet listens with growing interest, especially when he mentions that he took down these monsters without any crazy high-tier spells. The mere mention of powerful magic makes Liam's inner nerd activate, but before he can start daydreaming about making it clear that his friends aren't some circus act for her amusement. Surprisingly, Scarlet just laughs, clearly entertained. She immediately actually excites him more than the title. Later, while chilling in the forest and studying the book, slaps on the back hard enough to make his bones reconsider they're still just a baron. But Bruno explains that self-made nobles are higher in status than ones who inherited that lose to him. Before Liam can even respond, little dragonlings have been terrorizing the region. The plan is to reseal the main dragon, but they need to deal with the kids first. Liam and his party head out, and Asuna charges at the dragon trees to ash. Liam outmatched. He tells the girls to retreat while he baits the dragons into following him. Then, he pulls understandably baffled, but the dragon is more interested in him than anything else. He claims he can sense that Liam's soul doesn't belong to this world, and that he's capable of great things. The dragon offers a deal. If Liam takes him along for the ride, he'll lend him his power. Liam doesn't get any bad vibes from the dragon, so he agrees. Instantly, the dragon turns into pure Liam does so, and everyone can finally breathe again. The guild master thanks Liam for handling things, and Liam apologizes for the catastrophe caused by his dumbass older brother. To make up for it, he donates 10 kilos of gold to help the injured. That night, his father thanks him personally and informs him that Alba will be under house arrest. Feeling guilty, Liam goes to visit Alba's room, but stops when he hears his brother yelling about how he should have been the one to restore the Hamilton family's honor. Liam realizes then and there that Alba was never truly surprisingly, the little guy is now completely docile and even affectionate. Liam is caught off guard by the question, but before he can ask why she's so interested, she tells her the old geezers in power refuse to let her promote him any further than Baron, so instead, she's giving him the title of hero candidate. Scarlet then asks for the details of his fight, and when Liam admits that he made a contract with the dragon instead of killing it, she visibly panics. She warns him that if word gets out, it'll cause massive problems, so she orders him to keep it a secret, for now. Liam doesn't have much choice but to agree, but the next morning, he gets his reward for keeping quiet. a treasure chest packed with 3,000 gold coins. Now that's hush money he can get behind. A couple of days later, the old man James pulls up on Liam and immediately asks him the million-dollar question. Can he use holy magic? Liam starts sweating bullets because, Scarlet kinda bribed him into keeping his mouth shut. But James isn't buying any of that. He calls Scarlet too young and naive to be handling big boy business, and says the amount of gold she gave Liam was sus as hell. On top of that, she didn't immediately report Liam's dragon-slaying feat to her father for a promotion, which meant she was covering something up. James keeps pressing, and Liam finally folds like wet paper. He confesses that after absorbing the dragon fiend Raiden, he ended up with some holy magic spells. James tells him to prove it, so Liam casts All Clear, a spell that removes all negative effects like poison, petrification, and probably emotional trauma. James is impressed and immediately shifts into history professor mode. He tells Liam about the legendary War of Three Dragons that happened centuries ago. The dragon that could use holy magic won, and then it joined a human. That human went on to found their entire country. Liam's first thought? That the dragon and human married and had kids. And apparently, the rest of humanity thought the same thing. But James has a different theory. Liam absorbed Raiden into his body, meaning he joined the dragon instead. So technically, Liam has the potential to recreate the legend of their nation's foundation. But this also raises two big problems. One, if Raiden turns out to be the dragon from the legend, then Liam's great-grandpa's heroic act of sealing him up becomes a joke. Their noble title? Gone. What if Raiden holds a grudge and wants revenge on the kingdom for locking him up? Liam quickly reassures him that Raiden doesn't give a single damn. The dragon straight up said humans keep giving him new titles every few centuries, and he doesn't care anymore. James decides to trust Liam's judgment. The next day, Liam heads to the guild, but Asuna and Jody are waiting like two bodyguards on high alert. They immediately drag him away because everyone suddenly wants a piece of him. Random adventurers are lining up to join his party so they can get carried like freeloaders. The girls tell him to be careful about letting strangers in. But the real chaos begins when he gets home. His dad hands him a fat stack of marriage proposals. Apparently, every noble family in the kingdom wants to lock him down. Bruno the Menace even rolls up, trying to marry Liam off to his wife's distant cousin. Liam dodges all the marriage traps and goes to hang out with Asuna and Jody instead. He tells them he has something special to show them. The girls, being degenerates, hope it's something fun, but Liam takes them inside his pocket dimension instead. And surprise, it now has a fully furnished house inside. He explains that he hired some carpenters in another city, then stored the house in his pocket dimension like some next-level real estate investment. Since he's mastered the Another World skill, anything inside the pocket dimension won't disappear. He gives the girls a tour, even joking about what positions they'll be in at each location. Jody complains that the lighting is bad, so Liam experiments by summoning a shade spirit. But the little guy turns the whole place pitch black. Asuna wonders if spirits can evolve like them, and that gives Liam a big brain idea. He contracts the shade spirit, and boom, it evolves into a medium-level spirit with better abilities. The newly evolved shade spirit is so hyped that it swears loyalty to Liam. Liam then realizes he can't summon it freely yet, so the spirit tells him to store it inside his ring. Liam does that, then starts collecting spirits like he's playing Pokemon, evolving a salamander, a wind spirit, and others, until he gains medium-level spirit summoning magic. The next day, Raiden gives Liam a mission. He tells him to summon his baby dragon, who then kidnaps him and flies him straight into a hidden fairy forest. The fairies freak out at first, but once Liam mentions Raiden, they start trusting him. Apparently, fairy wings sell for a ridiculous price, so the fairies are constantly in danger of getting hunted. Raiden wants Liam to protect them by putting up a barrier and giving them names, which is a type of magic all humans can use. Liam decides to experiment. He names one fairy, Riani, and bam, she instantly evolves into an elf. Even Riani is stunned because that's a huge upgrade. Raiden explains that Liam accidentally stacked naming magic with contract magic, making the evolution even stronger. Seeing Riani turn into a hot elf, all the other fairies immediately start begging for names. Liam grants their wishes, and suddenly, his fairy army transforms into an elf village. Riani, now the leader, asks Liam how they can serve him. He has no tasks for them yet, so he just tells them to build a village and live in peace. But as he's about to chill, he senses a weird magical power deep in the forest. He follows it and finds a glowing magic fruit hanging from a tree. Apparently, the fairies collect magic and condense it into fruit during their free time. Raiden tells him to take a bite. Liam does, and immediately feels like he's on a magic sugar rush. He tests his magic and finds that he can now fire 19 magic missiles at once. The next day, Liam checks on the elves, but their village-building skills are atrocious. Suddenly, a scream echoes through the forest. Bandits have kidnapped an elf girl. Liam charges in and tells them to back off. The bandits, being idiots, attack. One guy lunges at him, but Liam yeets him with magic missiles. The other two try to gang up on him, so he pulls out his shadow clone. The clone helps him knock them out in seconds. Realizing the forest isn't safe, Liam temporarily moves the elves to his pocket dimension. But surprise, the dimension has expanded ever since he ate that magic fruit. He then teleports them out onto his land, where the bandits can't reach them. The elves are amazed by his power and immediately kneel before him, begging him to become their king. Liam, being the shameless guy he is, accepts their offer. While the elves feast on instant ramen, Liam practices his second high-level holy spell. After 4 days of failure, he finally gets it. It's teleportation magic. He gathers the elves and demonstrates by teleporting them to a remote island 100 kilometers away. His shadow clone was already waiting there, marking it as the destination. Once they arrive, Raiden tells him to use his crest's power on the land. Liam does, and suddenly, an invisible seal breaks, revealing the true lush forest underneath. The elves celebrate, and Liam asks Raiden why this land was sealed in the first place. But Raiden goes completely silent, dodging the question like a guilty suspect. After settling the elves in, Liam keeps practicing teleportation until he can cast it instantly. Leaving the baby dragons behind to guard the village, he returns home. But the moment he gets back, Scarlet shows up and asks if Raiden mentioned anything about the Promised Land. Liam says no, but does tell her about the sealed lands and the elves. Scarlet wants to see them, but Liam has a favor to ask first. He needs a skilled engineer to help build the elf village. Scarlet introduces him to a legendary dwarf engineer, and Liam wastes no time. He summons his shadow clone and sends the dwarf straight to the elf village to get to work.